Welcome to another memory hole. We had a special guest lined up, but his car broke down a few hours ago, so maybe he comes, maybe he doesn't. I also may have COVID, which is why I've got this deep, sexy voice. Or it could. I'm hoping it's just because I was smoking a ton over the weekend, and I'm just a bit sick from that. But someone I was close contact with did test positive, so it probably is COVID. And I can't tell if I'm, because I've got body aches, but that's because I did 75 press-ups yesterday because I missed my 25 a day over the weekend. So I don't know.
It could be the shivers.
I can still taste.
Oh, trust me, you have no taste. You can't tell if you have COVID based on that, mate.
Yeah,
your baseline's too low.
Anyway, let's chill a bit. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. You know, I did send this to my Irish friend, and he really enjoyed the Magnet Thatcher pissing episode. So yeah, go check out that episode. That was a good one. Yeah, let's jump in. August, week 4, the Afghan aftermath. Fedora guy Jerry messing fights for his life after contracting COVID. I feel you, bro.
Oh, dang. Yeah, poor guy. Did he make it? Or I hate cliffhangers.
What's his name?
Free
Jerry
me.
Messing. Oh, he was in Freaks and Geeks.
What?
That's where he's from. He's still alive. He made it.
Yay.
Who was he in Freaks and Geeks? He's making out his name for his
I'm going to go on a limb and say a geek.
Pugsley Adams. Oh, he played Pugsley Adams in the 1998 film Addams Family Reunion.
Whoa.
He had a reoccurring role on the short-lived cult NBC drama Freaks and Geeks as Gordon Crisp, an optimistic geek with trimethylaminuria. What's that? Is that
I think it's a genetic disorder, disease? No?
Oh, fish odor syndrome.
Yeah.
That was such a good show. Yeah. He was the fat kid. Wow. The more you know. Well, at least he pulled through.
Yeah. Yeah. Massive props. Props to the guy.
Did he become an incel, though? He has all the makings of an incel.
Yeah, the incel phenotype.
Black, red, blue. That bottom meme doesn't make sense. Why would you take a red and a blue pill?
Which one?
Everything I've learned about incels.
Oh.
You got the Virgin.
And a black pill.
Versus Chad. Black, red, and blue.
Black pill, the red pill, the blue pill. Pepe's.
Yes.
It's a children's storybook. You meant to be reading this to a 3-year-old. Try to explain incels to him.
This is how I found out I was an incel. Because I like all those memes.
You certainly are. No, I'd say you're a fake cell. You're not an incel.
What's a fake cell?
You're pretending to be an incel to fit in with the community. But you're a fake cell.
OnlyFans for adults? No way. Sex education for 5-year-olds? Nope. Yes, please. That was one of my OG memes.
This got to be taken out of context. You know that. If you ever get cancelled, just actually clip yourself out of context and actually say, like, what do you mean? I'm pro this stuff. Look, here is a clip of me saying that.
That's the grift nowadays, right? Cancel.
Yeah.
Get cancelled.
All else fails, you can always become a YouTube communist. You can be called out by Sam Hyde. The Candyman cometh.
That thing with me in the British Sweets was just so good.
Yeah.
Your Roundtree's for pastilles. Yeah, this story was OnlyFans was banning porn, right? They said they were going to ban porn from which is like banning your entire business model.
Yeah. They said they're gonna. I mean, then it would have gone the way of Tumblr. You know, like dead website within 3 months. if they did that.
What was Tumblr? What did Tumblr ban?
Exactly that. Like
Oh, I see.
porn, smut drawings, yeah, all sorts of that kind of stuff. And then within 3 months, the site was dead.
I see.
Just weirdos making blog posts. But apparently that can't carry a website. Who would have thought?
Crazy how the internet cannot eliminate the root demand. Oh, can't say that on YouTube, can we?
Yeah, I was gonna say child no images.
I have to edit that in post. But can censor, block, and delete all conspiracy theories and facts. Oh, and contact trace those who've been in contact with the COOF, but not those who steal and give sweeties to children.
Yeah, the purveyors of cheese pizza. It's true though. Like I got pinged a couple times on the app, on the old app. You're given 10 days, even that's being absolutely fine because you sit next to a bus, or you go to a cinema and someone's been to that same movie even though they're sitting like 5 meters away from you. Doesn't matter. Your Bluetooth registers and you get 10 days. Crumbs.
What if COVID is transferred by Bluetooth though?
It felt that way at times. Last year.
Classic Trump stand-up comedians.
National treasure.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. Look at what's happening.
It's I always have an out-of-body experience whenever he swears. It's so rare to hear him swear. Whenever during one of the first debates when they asked what he'd do about ISIS, and he said, "I would bomb the shit out of them." I was shivering, right? I was like, "Whoa!" Getting goosebumps there. Always a weird experience hearing him talk. Yeah, well, talk, yeah, but hearing him swear.
Do you think he's gonna run?
I don't know. I'm too black pill to think he's gonna run. I think he's gonna be jailed, and then they're gonna put some softy Republican and think that will plug the issue. And then it very well might. America's gonna become a one-party Democrat state because all the Republicans will have been hounded by the 87,000 IRS agents. But yeah, I'm much more black pilled than you are.
It'll be nice though that we'll have something in common with America.
What, a police state and 87,000 IRS agents?
Yeah.
Did you see that article about the other day? It said Britons need to be less squeamish about drinking sewage water.
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's literally the title. Britons need to be less squeamish about drinking sewage water, which comes on the tails of a Guardian article saying we can recycle wind turbines to make food. So, stop complaining. Just stop complaining. Drink your sewage water and eat your wind turbines, okay?
Yeah, is this out the fallout? Because all the sewage, basically the sewage works are all being fucked, and sewage is pouring into rivers and oceans and stuff. I saw some article saying, no, I can't tell my child not to eat turds that were floating in the sea. It's like, what? You can't tell your child not to start eating brown lumps of shit that are going to be in the sea.
I mean, I guess there is a broader point about why are there clumps of brown shit in the sea? But
yeah, but that's how you phrase it. Why?
Parental responsibility.
Yeah. Why do you have to announce how bad you are as a parent when you're wagging your finger at the sewage company?
Doesn't matter. We'll all be drinking William Fence's recycled poo water anytime soon.
We'll never understand why people who can be vaccinated but choose not to gamble with their lives. Because their lives belong to them, not anyone else as a political point score. They think they will be okay.
I don't understand.
Russian roulette. You might be okay, but then
people sky jump. I'm fucking terrified of heights, and I think anyone who sky jumps is out of their fucking minds. Like, why the fuck would you put yourself out there? And if you die, it's entirely on you. But I'm not gonna go around saying, don't sky jump.
But you're not affecting anyone else. I wonder how many people have landed on someone, like, from a skydive. Has anyone ever landed on a person while skydiving?
No, I was gonna say, has anyone ever been killed by a skydiver? Maybe that.
Yeah. Has anyone been killed by a skydiver? It just comes up with how safe is skydiving. Stupid Google. Let's just assume it's 0 then, if nothing's coming up.
Yeah, but obviously that's a flawed comparison. Apples to apples, because if you have had the how should I put it? If you've been needled, then you're at least in principle protected.
Phil Valentine, a conservative radio host in Tennessee who refused to get vaccinated, then urged his followers to get a shot after being hospitalised with COVID-19, died, his station said. This is incredibly sad. He's one of the hundreds of Americans who are dying every day because they've refused miraculous, life-saving vaccines. It's one of the saddest things I've seen in my entire life. It's hard to believe it's happening. Not as sad as people like using people's deaths for political purposes before the bodies are even cold.
Based. It is interesting that the insurance companies are now reporting something like a 40% increase in total cause mortality, as well as also other effects like infertility, myocarditis, because obviously they have to keep track of this stuff because there's money on the line. And
Yeah.
so I feel there's going to be a narrative shift, and we're going to go from needle is good and you can't say anything about it to needle is bad, but actually it's Trump's fault or something like that. Like we're gonna do some nice lovely pivot. All the NPCs are gonna get reprogrammed. Erase the RAM, put in fresh code, literally arbitrary code execution on their brains.
Yeah. Already seeing that, aren't we,
And
with the
then,
stories about how it was Trump that accelerated the vaccine programs.
oh, did you hear the YouTube changed their so you're in fact right now on YouTube you're not allowed to say that vaccines delete and post that
You're allowed
are
to say the word
100%.
vaccine.
No, well, I mean, yeah, if you want the Eye of Sauron to look over at your video, I guess. This is one of those nano words, but you're now not allowed to claim that they're 100% safe and effective, which is a complete 180. Now you get banned for spreading misinformation if you say they're 100% safe and effective, which is just complete bonkers, because this is it's a complete 180. Like this is literally the opposite of what you could get banned for like 12 months ago or even 6 months ago.
Well, we're not saying that, so it's nice to be on the right side of history for a change.
Oh no, I flipped to be on the wrong side. I as the contrarian, I now believe they're 100% safe and effective. It's time to get my second booster.
Y'all really think Hassan shouldn't be able to own a nice house and also champion for the poor and underprivileged? There is a difference between making millions on Twitch and paying 50% in taxes and Jeff Bezos being worth 150 billion and paying no taxes. Happy Hassan is crushing it.
The difference is in what Thomas Carlyle would refer to as bean counting. It's not a difference in principle. It's just you're not being guided by principle here. You're just whipping out a calculator and at that point, where would you draw the line? Is someone who makes twice as much as Hassan worthy of your condemnation? 10 times as much as Hassan? At what point should you draw the line?
Yeah.
And furthermore, since you've already conceded the principle, who says that I can't draw the line at Hassan's income? Right?
Yeah.
Because the principle is at some point, at some kind of threshold, which you've arbitrarily selected of income, a person deserves your condemnation, right? In this case, Jeff Bezos was 150 billion, so you put your threshold at 100, however much, I don't know, presumably there's some billionaires below Jeff Bezos whom you also hate, right? But you're not being guided by principle here, in as much as you're being guided by, okay, there's a certain number above which a billionaire deserves my condemnation. That number is somewhere between what Hassan Piker is earning and what Jeff Bezos is earning,
Yeah.
right? But then you can't really answer an argument from the other side where they say, okay, well, I'm just going to draw my threshold at Hassan Piker's income. And then what are you going to do? Because you're not being guided by principle here.
Yeah, as well, it's
So,
like
yeah,
this
I
thing
mean,
of like large
yeah.
numbers that it's another one of my pet peeves of like astrophysics, you know, where like they like try and blow people's minds. Like, oh, there's 1 billion stars in a galaxy, and then there's 1 trillion galaxies in the universe, and they just try and blow your mind with like these huge numbers to make you feel insignificant. It's that kind
You
of
lose a sense of scale, though.
yeah, that's the point. Like they try
Right.
with these things, they always try and like 150 billion and paying no taxes. Like it's like look at the scale between 150 billion and zero. But notice how nothing is said about Hassan. It's like, oh, he lives in a house.
He lives in a house with $3 million dollars, and he just bought a Porsche. And so, yeah, I am gonna make an argument. Socialism is when no Porsche. Like I'm saying it. Socialism is when no Porsche. Socialism is when no $3 million house, unless you have 10 families living in it, right?
Yeah.
End of.
I've never seen more class solidarity than millionaire streamers bending over backwards to defend other millionaire streamers, lol.
Stephen Bornell, third, crushing it. Go Destiny. I'm liking this new Destiny character arc. He's just being a thorn in the side of online BritTubers.
I did see some stupid argument. He came up on Shorts, and he was like converting making a conservative pro-trans, and he basically like if he basically just rejigged the entire argument to be like, if I instead of like chopping bits of you off or adding bits onto you, I could give you a brain transplant. And he was like, that's the entire argument. It's like, well, not really. There's a difference between if I could transplant your brain in somebody else like safely and effectively, I think probably people wouldn't have a problem with it, but that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I mean another. I was hearing a similar argument along those lines in a debate once, where someone said, okay, well, if I could go into each and every one of your cells and change the Y chromosome for the X chromosome, would you then be a woman? And I was like, this is so like such levels of impossibility. Like you can't just do that. You can't like we're arguing. If I go to Mars and buy a cheeseburger there, what's gonna happen? Like this is just such impossible hypotheticals you're describing here that no, I don't believe it's a valid argument at all. At least until the technology improves, which I don't think we'll ever reach a point where we can just go into inside the cell of a living being and just replace one chromosome with another.
Does it just
It's
make
not
more
gonna
sense
happen.
to like instead of pouring all this money into like mutilating people, just spend that money on actually like bringing forward the metaverse, and people can have their avatars and people can do whatever they want in the metaverse, and they can be whatever gender or animal or do whatever they want there. So then we don't actually have to have this
If
argument.
if by that you mean that these people will just be online and we won't have to interact with them in real life, then yeah, I 100% support your proposal.
There's growing concern that vax people may be more vulnerable to serious illness from the COVID Delta variant than previously thought. So the right-wing and anon conspiracy theory to mainstream news pipeline is now less than a 2-week journey.
Oh,
There's plenty of
well, look at
fire.
that.
This should be the Oren McIntyre episode, because there's a lot of fire takes throughout this this PowerPoint.
Ah, good. I love him. I love some of his takes. I listened to him on Michael Malice. I kind of feel like Malice is a lot more white pilled than the Norman McIntyre. Whereas, yeah, uh, I don't know. I think the time for the white pills is over.
Oh, the book's
Like,
coming out soon, though.
well, but at
He's
least
always
6 months
one
too late.
chapter away from finishing.
Well, that's the thing, because I thought it was coming out like shortly after he made that compilation of the various anarchists throughout history.
Yeah, that was
I
over a
thought,
year
okay,
ago now.
well, surely the white, yeah, exactly. I thought surely the white pill's like 6 months away, but apparently not. I think that's more than 2 years now. No,
It was sort of last spring. No, yeah,
Okay.
because I was living at home at the time, so it was like before the summer. Okay. We have a moral duty not to kill animals, said the vegetarian, so I do not eat animals. We have a moral duty to give 10% of our wealth to the church, said the Mormon, so I give the church 10% of my income. We have a moral duty to redistribute our wealth, said the socialist. Tumbleweed.
No.
Should have read that one before the Aaron McIntyre one, to be honest, but fuck it. Let's move on.
Sam Harris. I love roasting Sam Harris.
The one thing that I find disappointing, actually, like, because I don't listen to his podcast anymore for obvious reasons, mainly because of him, but his podcast, he did get like a wide range of guests talking about lots of different topics, whereas I feel like a lot of the podcasts I watch now, I hear the same thing over and over again, and I get very bored.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I stopped listening to podcasts. The only thing I listen to is just every Tuesday, Unpopular Opinions, and then basically the AA Sphere, right? Every Tuesday, Unpopular Opinions, every Wednesday, Cigar Stream. Did he do a Deepest Law today? I don't think he did, because he's doing that David Bowie series.
Yeah, I watched the first two so far. Well, they're really good. Yeah, I watched those, and
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't know that much about David Bowie, other than that really based interview he gave shortly before he died, on like how the internet is just turning everyone into a zombie.
Did I ever tell you about the theory? Like, there's that interview of some guy who looks just like David Bowie, like a week after he dies on telly. Mate, I'm absolutely convinced
David
it was him.
Bowie is not in Argentina.
No. I don't believe he's alive now. What I believe is he faked his death, like maybe a week or a few weeks before he actually knew he was going to die. Because this guy comes on who said he was a music exec, just to fuck with people. Because his last album was all like, it was called Lazarus, right, and like Raised from the Dead. So I reckon to troll people, he came out like in this like poor disguise, pretending to be this old music exec, telling stories about David Bowie. But this guy like there's like no paper trail of this guy. Looks just like David Bowie. Sounds like David Bowie. I even think the video got scrubbed from the internet. I'll see if I can find it. Music executive after David Bowie death interview. No, I found it. You tell me this isn't David Bowie. Let me find a good...
Let's see. In post, can you add the X-Files theme to this?
It's weird as well, because it has like loads of like the image looks strange. This guy.
That's not David Bowie.
How is that not David Bowie? Let me... David Bowie. You're telling me that
I can't believe this is happening. Right.
You're telling me that that's not the same guy.
Jack Stephen Bowie. Google like autofills it for you. Jack Stephen Bowie. There is literally a Facebook group called David Bowie equals Jack Stephen.
Yeah.
Stephen, aka David Bowie, discussing his death in 2016.
But even let me just play a little bit of this.
Yeah, well, nobody liked them at the label. I mean, promotion didn't
Can you hear that?
Press didn't like them. I mean, nobody did. My boss didn't really like them. He kept telling me that they were weird. And there was an artist liaison guy there called Tony McGrogan who sort of came up to my office, grabbed me and said, look, Bowie wants to meet up with you. Bring the tapes. So I always remember this. I brought The Walk and Love is a Stranger.
It's him.
I sat with him and I played them to him and he thought that...
I'm convinced. That's the one conspiracy I am absolutely 100% convinced of.
So he died, and then he came on TV.
I think he announced his death, came on TV, pretending to be this guy, then probably like just went into hiding to go and die, or just went away to die somewhere. The album's
David
called
Bowie in
Lazarus.
Argentina. David Bowie's in Argentina. My goodness. Oh my goodness! And then you look at there's like a whole lot of YouTube videos that are pointing out like similar facial features, like zooming in and be like, "Oh, he's got the same chin." Bloody hell! Right, Metro.co.uk. This music industry expert looks weirdly like David Bowie. See, you've been pre-bunked here. This is an article from 2016 January. Turn on the TV today, and you're near guaranteed to see a tribute to David Bowie after the music icon passed away. Yep. But if you turned on Sky TV News earlier this afternoon, you'd be forgiven for doing a double take. Jack Steven is the CEO of Cuba Entertainment, according to a LinkedIn profile, and previously worked with Bowie in his role as an A&R intern. But while he worked with the great man, some had other ideas about his identity and suggested an Elvis-esque conspiracy theory could be about to hatch. So if you look at Jack Steven, Cuba Entertainment, I have a feeling you might find, let's see.
I've done this before, guy.
Jack Steven.
The only thing of this Cuba Entertainment is this LinkedIn profile.
Okay, hang on, because there is an r/David Bowie from August 2016, so it took him 8 months to investigate. There's a post called "Conclusive Evidence that Jack Steven is not Bowie." Some guy says, I spent an hour today and did some research. I got bills and shit to pay. This is really... right.
He's still alive, this guy. He's still posting.
Yeah, Jack Steven.
Mate, that's Bowie. Mate, look, that is him. That's David Bowie.
Skeptical. No, that's Jack Steven, mate.
That's David Bowie. He's assumed the role of Jack Steven.
That's amazing. It's like the Prestige, without spoiling too much of the movie.
I'm convinced. Anyway, should we move on? An NBC poll, Afghanistan is literally nowhere on the list of concerns. Economy, jobs, immigration, COVID, corruption and healthcare. Not even 1%. I mean, immigration arguably could be part of that.
Yeah. But yeah, well, it's almost like people care more about being able to fill their cars and put food on the table than the empire's geopolitical tinkerings, right?
What I like most about Jennifer Rubin is that this is a genuine surprise. She isn't scolding anyone. It's not kayfabe. She's truly baffled Americans are more concerned about something petty like their material well-being.
Yeah.
Tony Blair calls Joe Biden an imbecile. Jesus, when the Dark Lord is...
I saw that video. Yeah, I don't really know where he's playing at. I kind of feel like he is going to be in charge of this country now that Liz Truss is the PM, because Liz Truss is the Dark Lord's close confidant. So brace yourself, or everyone who's still in the UK, brace yourself for 3 years of Tony Blair, basically. But it is interesting that he so brazenly decided to call Joe Biden an imbecile. I don't know what he's playing at. And also, yeah, just one more thing. I definitely recommend that everyone watch this video. If it's not behind the paywall yet, because it had a great segue about how John Major era movies were all like dark and grim, and Train Spotting and all that. Like everything is shit. Everything is cold, dark, and expensive, basically. And then 1997. Blair comes into power, things get a little bit better, and suddenly all the movies are like soppy dramas with Hugh Grant, who just happens to be Tony Blair's close friend, and it's all just romantic comedies, Love Actually, all that nonsense.
Mate, that's the best Christmas film.
I mean, yeah, but it's basically thinly veiled. Hugh Grant's basically portraying Tony Blair, except
Yeah.
doing a complete 180 to what Blair actually did, which is follow Americans into Iraq. Like in Love Actually, the British Prime Minister stands up to the American one and says, "No, we're not going to do it. Up yours, the US," and everyone cheers, everyone claps, and then in reality, it's completely opposite.
Yeah. If you are not a scientist and you disagree with scientists about science, it's actually not a disagreement. You're just wrong.
What if they're wrong and they're really bad because they're really bad at their jobs? Does anyone consider that?
That must mean all scientists are wrong all the time because they disagree all the time.
Well,
they should
someone's going to be wrong. But also, like, you know, if a repairman comes in and you disagree with them on how to, I don't know, repair something in the kitchen, the bathroom, or whatnot, and it turns out you're right, like 6 months down the line, you're right, and it was like, I don't know, a faulty pipe somewhere, and he was wrong. That you can't a priori say you're wrong because he's the specialist. You have to a posteriori say, well, he's just shit at your job, and you're right. This is not to disparage any manual workers and blue collar. I respect blue collar jobs.
Yeah. It's just bad epistemology, that, I guess. It's just someone who thinks of scientists as priests with lab coats instead of gowns.
Yeah, the regime's religion.
And we're both scientists, so don't disagree with us. It's time to add chest feeding to your... Sorry, go.
No, if you are a scientist, like if you are, for instance, a doctor, and you start saying things that regime doesn't like, then you're in a way stripped. Like there's a stripping of titles, so to speak, right? Because you remember what happened to all the old doctors like Peter McCullough, etc. No one's ever like, oh, they're doctors, and therefore they're right. No. They're saying things that the regime doesn't like. Ergo, they no longer count as doctors. They're no longer in the coveted expert class. You know, they're no longer the priestly overseers, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, credentialism when it's convenient.
Yeah.
It's time to add chest feeding to your vocabulary. I know we're all used to saying breastfeeding, but as a lactation consultant, I believe that inclusive language is vital.
Is anyone out there who actually, you know, was gonna go for a treatment and then they heard the word breastfeeding that, you know, send them into spiraling? Like, does that actually happen? Is there out there being like, oh yeah, I was in the waiting room for a doctor and I saw a sign said breastfeeding, and that like sent me trembling. You know, I need a like triple dose of benzos just to stay conscious.
Well, they're still technically breasts, right? They're just not as pronounced in men. Are they called breasts?
Yeah, I mean, you still have breast tissue, and in fact, you know, if you take estrogen, you will develop, you know, fatty tissue in the area, and yeah, you can even start lactating. But yeah, like it's steroid hormone chemistry, isn't it?
Well, at least it's still in the breastfeeding part of that website. It's
I love it. Breastfeeding is not that chest feeding too. Notice that they didn't change their category to chest feeding.
Chest feeding. There's just something about the sound of the word that actually it makes me think of like cheese, like there's cheese coming out of your nipples.
Chest feeding. Chest
Cheddar.
Chest.
The Salmon Springs Park Autonomous Zone, the SPAZ, sees its first official act as the new country after setting up borders. As before in the Chaz, the Antifa within demand to see papers before granting interview to access to streamers. Then Antifa attacked them with some crazy spray.
Did Lizzo get cancelled for that word? I think shouldn't we be
And
careful?
Beyonce.
Yeah.
But we're just reading an
and Beyonce.
acronym.
Oh, of course, right.
Can we cancel Antifa now?
No, because you can never call these people out on hypocrisy. It never works. Don't bother.
Musk robots will stun the Afghan manlets. Average height of an Afghani is 1.68 meters. What's that in feet?
Oh my goodness, it's like 5'4". Oh wow.
5'5". 5.5 feet.
Even more of a stain on the US's honor. My goodness.
Do you know the average height of a woman in Japan?
In feet or in centimeters?
Do either, and I can convert.
Okay, I'm gonna say 5'2".
Nope.
Lower.
It's
4'8".
lower.
Even lower than 4'8". No
No,
way.
4'9". 4'9".
Oh.
But I don't notice many women. Maybe I just think they're children and I don't realize. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Alert. New super variant named COVID-22 could be more dangerous than Delta strain, expert warned. Of course, that never came true.
Yeah, what happened to that? Yeah, fact check false. This was fact checked by true American patriots. Fact check false. We give it pants on fire rating.
They give it a name, obviously, that can't be Googled very well. As soon as you put that in, it just gives you data about this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this year it's all about BA75 or something, or BA25. I don't know. I honestly don't know which variant we're on now.
The Delta variant is terrifying starter pack. Crowd surfing, maskless.
Lollapalooza. Obama at Martha's Vineyard, celebrating his birthday.
You may die, which is normal.
Side effects include death.
I'm pretty sure this was the moment the Taliban said, "Fuck it, we got this."
Or at least, fuck it, we can give it a chance. We can give it a try, right? Which is why I'm so disappointed that China just completely chickened out on the Pelosi visit. They didn't even try to do anything. They were talking all that good shit about how they're gonna shoot a plane down, and they just fuck all. Plane landed.
Was that guy really the press, like a press sec or whatever? It was intern? Like he just seemed like some TikToker that invaded the White House.
No, he was an intern in Jen Psaki's office.
Is he still there?
No one knows. Maybe they shelved him for being too cringe. I doubt it.
I doubt that. Brett Weinstein and Heather Hying struggle to answer the hypothetical: get infected with COVID with no access to medications or get the vaccine. These people are scumbags. I second that. These people are scumbags. I threed that. These people are scumbags. They go on to fearmonger further by discussing the possibility of antibody-dependent enhancement, which hasn't been observed a single time with COVID vaccine, despite hundreds of millions of doses being distributed, and hasn't been a real concern since the 60s. God, Reddit is such a dumpster fire of shit.
I mean, the stats speak for themselves, right? That's it. We don't know if there's AD or not. We do know that we're observing effects on population scale that people who have been given the needle are in some aspects perhaps even more vulnerable to the infection than not, which is paradoxical.
Isn't it because the immune system, it focuses on the original one that comes in, so when the new one comes in, it doesn't see it as a threat because it doesn't look like, in some ways.
Or even worse, you can use the actual antibodies to piggyback into the cell, right? Because if you think about it, an antibody, is essentially a small, well, I wouldn't say small molecule. It's a protein that binds the virus. But if you have the virus on one end and your actual cell on the other end, then there's nothing preventing the virus from going into that cell, right? And instead of using its normal receptor, you can use the antibody as a receptor to get into the cell. Which is why we call it antibody-dependent enhancement.
But it hasn't been a thing since the 60s. Well, so what if it hasn't been? If something hasn't been a concern for 4 years, doesn't mean that it can't be a concern again. These people think that like civilization advances and can't go back, unless, of course, Trump is the president. In which case, everything goes back to the medieval Stone Age or whatever.
So, I guess if you want to read about antibody-dependent enhancement without, the well being poisoned because of COVID, look up antibody-dependent enhancement dengue fever, because the dengue virus uses antibody-dependent enhancement, and then you can learn exactly how the process works without, COVID poisoning the well.
Okay, I'll take a look at that later.
Candyman.
Exclusive. Britain has a shortage of large family homes needed to house large Afghan families. On average, each family coming to the UK under ARAP has 7 people. Some families have 12. Councils being given grants to rent or buy large family homes.
Yeah, I mean, apparently 50,000 Ukrainian refugees are about to be homeless because the money's run out for Britons to house them. And a lot of them are saying, yeah, well, in that case, especially with the increased cost of living, a lot of them just can't support a Ukrainian family. So we're looking at literally 50,000 Ukrainian families in the UK who won't have a roof over their heads.
Which means they'll be on the streets, which means they'll probably turn to crime to try and feed themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it, really. I have no solutions for the people in charge.
Can you unpack whatever this is on the right? Is it something to do with...
Let's have a look. Yeah, this is biophysics.
Is this the enhancement thing?
Okay. No. So this is So I was posting this to you because every time I read biophysics or anything pertaining to mathematical representation of biological functions, always starts as something easy, like A plus B gives you C. And then before you fucking know it, there is infinite integrals. It's like, how the fuck do we? This literally 2 pages apart. This thing, right? So this is 1 page and the next, and so we go from something that's very easily understandable, a kinetic model of a ligand binding to protein, to a fucking 3-line long differential equation. No, it's not even a differential equation. This is fucking insane. This is why I really, really struggle with
it's a rate equation, I think.
Physics and is it?
That's exponentials with negative exponents, so it's probably describing some rate of.
Oh yeah. So dumb.
Yeah, that looks horrible. That's why I study physics. It's easier.
You have to do this kind of shit on a daily basis, right?
No, I make the computer do all the maths.
But you still have to tell it what to compute, right? You have to convert this to code that the computer can.
Well, actually, I just use one equation which is built into the software. I'll show you how simple the equation I use is. Sure. Where is it? So pretty much all I do is based on this equation. Very simple.
Let's have a look. That does look quite simple.
So this is just the magnetization vector. This is magnetization times by the effective field. And then this is just the damping parameter. So it's basically just a magnetization that's like spinning like a spinning top. and this is the
Yeah, I can dig
damping.
it.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, at least it doesn't have fucking 50 million terms in it. I do love how it's like literally substituting equation 9 with equations 10 to 12 at T equals Tm. We obtain the total required liquid concentration, and it's a fucking 3-line equation with 20 million different terms. It's just a simple substitution. You know, you just put in the terms. You know, we've already calculated half of this stuff. How difficult can it be?
I mean, it's mathematically not very complex, that equation.
Is anyone ever going to calculate this shit by hand? Is anyone ever going to be like, you know, got to ask his assistant, could you fetch me that textbook on protein unfolding? I'm going to have a look at that equation, 1.3, and then, well, I guess I'm just going to grab a pencil in the back of an envelope and put in all the numbers and see what we get, right? We'll see you in 15 minutes.
Jen Psaki, there were 21 ums. This was brutal to watch. In 14 seconds. MOLDBUG energy.
Yeah, he's not an amazing public speaker. I'll tell you that.
Let's review Conquest's third law. The simplest way to explain the behavior of any bureaucratic organisation is to assume that it's controlled by a cabal of its enemies. We're suing to end South Carolina's ban on mask requirements in schools with disability rights.
There's a lot of negatives in that one. So, in simple terms, the ACLU is pro-masks. The Civil Liberties Union... Let me say that again for the people in the back. The Civil Liberties Union is suing to keep mask mandates in power.
You have a right to not be sneezed on. That inalienable God-given right.
But you can wear a screen, right? On your face. Like one of the ones we use for liquid nitrogen. Go full on screen. In fact, you can even go into a subway with a hazmat suit. I wouldn't care. Especially not after the last 2 years. Be like, yeah, this man understands his own safety. It's a paragon of H&S.
Nirvana sued by the baby from Nevermind's album cover. The images exposed
Who
Bence's
exactly
intimate
from Nirvana?
body part.
I mean, if this guy was looking for the frontman of Nirvana to sue, I have some bad news for him. I can just imagine this guy being like, you know what? I've had it. I can't believe they used my photo as a baby. I'm going to sue Nirvana. Right. Yellow Pages. Who is the frontman of Nirvana?
Look how they... What does lasciv... They say his body parts were lasciviously displayed. What does that word mean? Like, I have an idea in my head, but I just want to check.
To do with lust, I think.
Feeling or revealing an overt sexual interest or desire. Yeah. I don't think I got that from that image.
No, me neither. If anyone listening to this podcast, if you got sexual thoughts from looking at the Nirvana album cover, seek help.
Or cut out the middleman and kill yourself. Eldon was in Minecraft. Eldon was recreating the album cover several times as a teenager and adult, always wearing swimming trunks to mark Nevermind's 10th, 20th, and 25th anniversaries. However, he has expressed ambivalence about the photo shoot in 2016. Doesn't ambivalence mean don't care?
Yes.
Journalism today, man.
I mean, you know this
mixed feelings.
This reeks. Yeah, so this reeks of him, you know, needing some cash, being strapped for cash, and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna sue them. Maybe something sticks, maybe get some money, maybe the out-of-court settlement. Right? It never bothered him until now. Now he suddenly had the Damascus moment where he realized that he's been sexualized as a baby and he needs to do something about it. Like, sue the shit out of Nirvana and get some money. I mean, yeah, go for it. You know, it's America. Sue them.
So it's pretty difficult. You feel like you're famous for nothing. Isn't that the American dream now?
The judge will order in reparations Kurt Cobain's shotgun and a hand job from Courtney Love. And that's it. That's going to be your payment.
When I go to a baseball game and I think about it, man, everybody at this baseball game has probably seen my little baby penis. I feel like I got part of my human rights revoked.
Bollocks.
Sorry, the ACLU is busy with masks.
Maybe you can do the photo shoot and put a little mask over your penis. Photoshop a mask on that photo. In fact, can you do that? Can you add that in post?
Yeah, we'll
Photoshop
do that.
Face mask over the album cover, and then done, settled, sorted. Now you just got to delete all the previous album covers, all the older album covers from the internet, and then we're done. Oh, this is the John Cleese rant. Love it.
He was a progressive liberal degenerate comedian in the 1960s, uber white, uber polite Britain that could take the piss out of the people he saw as uptight and repressed, while enjoying the clean, safe streets and quiet little hamlets full of those same uptight, repressed, polite to a fault, helpful white Christian Anglos. The best part was those same conservative British Anglos were generally pretty humorous about themselves. So when you made fun of them, they laughed along with you and shook their heads, saying, "Haha, you know, Margie, he's got a point." It was heaven on earth for him. Be a popular counterculture icon loved by conservatives and liberals alike for being hilarious, but also enjoy the benefits of a strong, stable, homogenous culture. Now he's an old man staring at a desolate wasteland where London is majority non-white, everyone is suspicious, the hamlets and villages are economic dead zones, every week there's a new group you're not allowed to make fun of, no one has a sense of humour anymore, little girls are being sold as sex slaves by your own politicians, women are being harassed in the streets, and the white men are all suspicious and surly over their lowered living standards. The sinking realisation that the world he made fun of but loved more than anything is gone forever and will never come back, and the horrifying suspicion that his own counterculture irreverence may have helped kill it. So he impotently gripes on Twitter and wonders where the laughter went. When did the joke stop? Where are those wonderful, repressed and uptight conservatives?
Oof. Gone. A little requiem for Great Britain.
Just a little Bitcoin meme there for you.
Nakamoto Institute. I like it. £400
deadlifts.
Yeah, no. Nakamoto Institute strikes me more as people who would buy like the so-called programmer's socks. Did you see the programmer's socks debacle? Where they were like, I think they found on Amazon that a worrying proportion of people of programmers or like engineers and software companies buy knee-high socks and cosplay as girls or cosplay as girls. Just by looking at the sales of knee-high socks. That's what they call programmers' socks.
Oh. Yeah, it's better than being a CATO Institute. Slippery slope, fractional reserve banking, perpetual debt, denial, carbs, occasional long-distance runs.
Yeah, there you go. Programming socks. Know your meme. I can't believe it. There's a Know Your Meme page.
Programming socks. Turning in specific types of knee socks and high thighs, which became known for often being worn by transgender and non-binary people, as well as cross-dressers. 2016, all the good stuff happened in 20... Well, that was the end of the good era, right?
The tail end of 2016, yeah.
Top entries this week, Abigail Shapiro.
Oh.
Status confirmed. Anyway.
She's a bit of a meme.
We've got our Rule 34. OnlyFans, thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion and we will continue to provide a home for all creators. Everyone feels the need to invoke the holy words even when they just mean porn. Inclusion. What I think though is good though, right?
Mantra.
Porn is actually quite conservative in some ways. Like it has like well-defined categories. Like men, women, and trans are separated into their own distinct categories. There's no like trans people trying to invade the women's or the men's sections. So I think that we need to take that as a win.
And I'm often surprised. How good porn websites are. Oh, fucking hell, this is gonna be giving their users the kind of porn that they seek. Like the algorithm stuff is even better than on YouTube. Like, for instance, has a porn site ever recommended like gay porn for you? Assuming you haven't been actively searching for it.
No.
No, me neither, right? Like the algorithms for porn websites must be even better finely tuned than the YouTube algorithms or whatnot.
It's just because it's more specific.
Possibly.
There's less scope. Plus, there's probably a lot of people on there.
Yeah.
Let's not dwell on that for too long.
Yeah, let's not dwell on porn. Next page.
That was Sam Hyde's message right after the fight. In one of the post-fight interviews, he said, "Stop watching porn," was one of his messages.
Exactly, stop watching porn.
US policy is literally to go into traditional societies with NGOs funded by intelligence agencies and promote radical sexual gender policy that 98% of locals regard with disgust. If the goal of the USA was to make itself not just loathed but regarded as evil, could anyone do a better job? Used to tell 9/11 skeptics maybe some people don't want a McDonald's in every corner, their daughters becoming whores or their sons becoming gay, and are willing to kill us to keep these perceived threats from occurring, met with incredulity and scorn.
Yeah, what is that author, the French author who wrote the book Submission?
Oh, that's a really good book.
I mean, yeah, aside from the fact that I definitely would recommend the book, because he had a really Houellebecq, that's the one.
Yeah, Michael Houellebecq.
Michel Houellebecq. Houellebecq. He had a quote about if I can just find it. Yeah. Nah, I can't find it, but it was basically like the idea that it's incomprehensible for someone who have lived and benefited under a certain system to imagine that someone who hasn't lived and benefited under that system, that person could absolutely loathe the system and wish its destruction. Like it's incomprehensible to Westerners that there are people who don't want the Western lifestyle.
Yeah. And to go even further, like, not that just like people hate it, but that one half of that society are just crying out to be part of it. Like that you need to liberate one half.
Yeah.
The period after the Afghanistan debacle subsides will be very dangerous. The humiliated regime will be looking to reassert itself, and since it lacks the credibility to act abroad, they'll look close to home, like the guy who gets punked at work going home to beat his wife. Internet reactionaries unironically think civilization fall causes caused by women shaking their ass. Caesar Ho twerking. Okay, the Taliban was right. If we found out that advanced civilization was in fact sustained by ass shaking, then they'd be like, well, agrarian society is really much more desirable than advanced civilization. Anything to hold on to their little feelings of disgust.
Again, like, this is like a completely absurd hypothetical. Like, what if we one day found out that civilizations are sustained by ass shaking? Like, how am I supposed to, like, what if we one day found out that, that the moon is made of cheese? Like, I don't know how to answer that question.
Or that we find out that civilization is only sustained if women are in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But that one actually has like more going for it than the ass shaking.
Interesting point. But then we obviously have the Enlightenment values. Right. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for everyone. Yeah. But again, some people might not like that, right? And there's the question of, are we gonna go to their countries and tell them how to do things, or not? Or if we're gonna do it, are we just gonna get our asses handed to us like we just did in Afghanistan? Yeah.
Here's Woodsy saying the point you made earlier, the idea that people could experience liberalism and democracy and then choose Sharia law anyway is so horrifying to Western liberals that they won't even consider it a possibility. They'll just carry on assuming that Afghans really want liberalism no matter what. Why do you think so many gingers turn to Islam?
What?
Do you not notice there's a lot of the white Islam converts are redheads?
No, I don't. Then again, I don't look into the demographics of Islamic converts, so I wouldn't be able to tell. Yeah.
A lot of them look like this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the ginger beard's very popular in
that guy
Islam.
looks like he gets a sunburn from staring at his phone screen.
Oh, there's even an article. Ginger jihadis. Why are they attracted to radical Islam? You've likely already made the connection between ginger hair and homegrown Islamic radicals yourself. Subconsciously, perhaps, from newspaper reports showing carrot-topped wannabe jihadis from Bradford and TV clips of Auburn brothers in East London. What you probably don't know is just how vastly overrepresented redheads are in the ranks of Islamist converts.
Wow.
76% of white British converts to radical Islam had red hair.
What?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Talk about overrepresentation. My goodness.
I want to know the reason. Blood nut, fire truck, matchstick and tampon are among the more printable insults levelled at ginger-headed children, according to the comedian Tim Minchin. But it can be heard to sympathise with the narrative of victimhood propagated by ginger prejudice campaigners until you recall what relentless and cruel abuse redheads are often subjected to. Only a ginger can call another ginger.
Wow.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah. Biden achieves near Trumpian negligence here, but unlike Trump, whose reputation among his fans was magically shielded from earthly damage, Biden can't get away with being a callous moron in an emergency, and he shouldn't. This is all just sickening. Checks notes. Didn't he get away with it?
He did get away with it.
You voted for Biden and you vote for whatever generic Democrat is slapped on the plate for you in 2024. Skip the full macho. Consequences will never be the same. Tweeting and keep just a good little Democrat, errand boy.
See, the sad thing is Cernovich is right on the money here. Like, Mr. We avoided an asteroid heading towards Earth. Well, okay, but then it's on you, right? My conscience is clear.
Feeling overwhelming gratitude for the adults in the room. Publicly eating these words syllable by syllable. He seemed more reasonable a year ago and willing to admit he was wrong about something, but the long TDS is strong with this one.
Yeah.
I'm told to delete more of my memes.
Oh. Gotta defend
Republicans
defend the from my phone.
Madison Cawthorn sent a letter to VP Kamala Harris, CC, to the rest of the presidential line of succession, urging them to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Biden. Republicans are cheapening impeachment, presidential resignation, and now the 25th Amendment.
So the rest of the presidential line of succession, I think the order is VP in the event of more and more people dying in a plane crash kind of a scenario. So it's President, VP, and then I think it's Speaker of the House. So it would be Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is third in line to the throne. Just to put things into perspective. The business shark herself.
I wonder what comes after an administration purges the military of anyone who disagrees with it politically or is willing to speak out against incompetence.
What happens is they look into recruiting foreigners, right? There's so much going on about we're gonna right now on Twitter about people just saying if the quote unquote chuds don't want to sign up for the military, that's fine. We'll just have foreigners staff the military, which is literally Roman Empire tier, right? This is the failing Roman Empire recruiting, the various Gauls and Germanic tribes to serve the military because no one wanted to enlist. And we're reaching the exact same scenario, but they're talking about it with like pride and excitement in their voice. They're like, yeah, we're gonna have an army composed entirely of foreigners, and we don't see a problem with that. In fact, it's better because then we don't have you chuds, you red state dirty people in the ranks, and we can use that military to control you, and it's never gonna backfire because historically it's never backfired. For more information, please read Machiavelli, The Prince.
Sometimes things don't seem obvious, end up being woefully incorrect. When your job is to prognosticate, you won't always be right. It's not something a lot of people understand. Many of us thought the adults would be back in Washington. We were totally wrong, so we adjust. The problem is that you don't just adjust. The people you malign are constantly correct, and the adults in the room people are constantly wrong. So if you learned, no one would be upset with you.
Yeah. These people have a long line of taking L's on various topics. Right. In fact, literally every single thing they accuse Trump of doing, Biden is doing like twice as bad. Right. Corruption. Okay, you have the Trump University, the dreaded Sam Harris Trump University. Meanwhile, with Biden, I mean, the corruption he's just oozing with corruption. You know, the Burisma, China, the biolabs, the shady investment funds, the cocaine. I mean, there's infinitely more corruption with the Bidens than with the Trumps. Same thing. People are saying, oh, if Trump's going to be elected, he's going to start a war, with Russia, with China, with North Korea. Meanwhile, the US was on best terms with North Korea when he was in charge. Russia didn't invade anyone, and neither did China. And exactly the opposite has happened when suddenly the so-called adults are back in charge. Like no other notion has been more thoroughly demolished than adults are back in charge because they're clearly not. And if same thing with public health, they were saying, oh, Trump is bungling up the COVID response. Meanwhile, at least twice as many people I think died under Biden than under Trump from COVID, and now they can't even get a grip on the monkeypox epidemic, which is now swollen up to the size of an epidemic in the U.S. It's insane. Literally every single thing they said, petrol prices. They were like, oh, under Trump we're gonna have absolutely horrendous petrol prices, and the rich won't be paying any taxes, and meanwhile the standard of living is absolutely awful. And what just happened? He just hired 87,000 IRS agents to hound middle class people. Like every single prediction they had about Trump is coming true in spades for Biden. Incredible. Yep. Incredible.
Teacher says the US flag makes her uncomfortable, so she misplaced it, and her students in the classroom pledged their allegiance to the trans pride flag.
Yeah, for more information, see the more recent Stone Toss comic, which shows a teacher basically, mouthing the words to the allegiance to the flag, and then one of the kids kneels, and then the teacher is like proper upset, and then it's revealed that the flag has been changed from the US flag to the pride flag, which begs an important question: what will happen if you decide to kneel in front of the pride flag instead of standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Would that be a valid form of protest? Can we have a dissident right-wing Colin Kaepernick?
I doubt it.
Unlikely.
Wait, it's all Hegel. Always has been. Hitler, Mao, Stalin.
No, it's all Schmidt. But then again, maybe Schmidt is based in Hegel, but I doubt it. It's all Schmidt. It's all friend and enemy distinction. It's all about saving your friends and punishing your enemies. It's always about turning the 51 against the 49%. Always.
We are all we have, and if we treat each other with compassion, we are all that we need. Same person says, have you noticed how strikingly similar both the mindsets and actions are between the suicide bombers at Kabul's airport and the anti-mask, anti-vax people here? They both blow themselves up, inflict harm on those around them, and are convinced they are fighting for freedom.
The demonization of the enemy to justify violence. Again, purely Schmittian playbook. These people, this is why I would very much implore everyone to read Carl Schmitt's Political Theology, where he basically explains that you have to have an enemy image. In fact, you have to have an enemy image in order to have a society, and that it oftentimes really does translate into turning the 60% against the 40%, right? Which is kind of what's happening in the US right now, right? Or the 55% against the 45%. You have 80 million people, or 75 million people who voted for Trump, who are being actively demonized by the 80 million who now, safe and secure elections, the 80 million people who voted for Biden.
Wisconsin towns await influx of Afghans and wonder what it will mean. Really good food. Probably some seriously good naan, unlike that crap you get at the grocery store. New neighbours and interesting food. Good food. Interesting neighbours, a chance to learn new things. Excellent food.
Is that your point of view, though? Like, shouldn't you be amongst those people scoring L's?
Well, it does come with good food. They're not wrong. It's just that, what's the cost?
Fair. Okay. Well, at least you, yeah.
I want my cobs and cheese curds. Hey, Jen, you won't believe this. The car wasn't full of ISIS leaders. It was full of children. I'm not going to lie, fam. I've been doing some research, and it turns out the sun is the centre of the solar system. Learn more about how European experts agree on the geocentric model. Trust the science. Listen to the experts.
Oh, yeah, but he's not a scientist, so he's wrong. In fact, I'd say he's definitely not a scientist. He's an engineer, because he built his own telescope, right? Which means he must have had some kind of formal understanding of theory of how lenses work and stuff. Well, in fact, he had a practical understanding of how they work in order to build himself a telescope.
But the model he built of the solar system was science, right?
Was it? Or was it engineering? Or was it philosophy? Because he didn't actually have any evidence for it.
Does it matter what we call the knowledge creation?
Yeah, interesting point.
Okay, let's leave on a light note.
Hey man, I hear you got some funny stuff. Nah, yo, I don't know what you're talking about. All I got is non-offensive, state-approved memes. I know you got the good stuff. I want the real thing. That's all I got. I won't tell anyone. Tell me a joke. Shh, yo, chill with the J word, okay? Alright, my bad. Get out of here. You want me to verbally tell you a joke? Come on, man, I'm fiending. That's felonies. I got the Amazon credits. Okay, fine. Bro, thank you. Bro, chill. Okay, you ready? Knock, knock. No, now you gotta say who's there. Oh, okay. Knock, who's there? No. I say knock, knock. You say who's there. Okay. Knock, knock. Who's there? Kanga. Now you gotta say Kanga who? Kanga who? Actually, it's kangaroo. That's a play on words, bro. Bro, knock, knock. That's potentially highly offensive to victims of B&Es. I'm a sicko. And the misidentification of an endangered marsupial is very problematic. You want to hear where the chicken crossed the road? Bro, I don't know. I think I need to go home and chill after this. Just like relax and insert my Bezos Whole Foods Cardi B collab DMT butt plug. I've had 2 at my pussy this whole time.
Speaking of Bussy, I'm just gonna say, speaking of Bussy, go watch the Tariq Nasheed documentary by
I started
Tom.
watching that and I fell asleep, but I need to rewatch.
Welcome to Bussyville. Yeah, it's good stuff to fall asleep to. He's got a very soothing voice. The monster-addled teenager. Right,
oh
what
god,
we
my
got?
voice. Next time on the Memory Hole, the drug that cannot be named.
With a special K.
Yeah. Absolutely, I believe 100% society will collapse from climate change in 20 years. I love his Pokemon t-shirt. Live in a big city, specialise in white collar artistic work, I mean, 0 practical skills.
Yeah, the problem is that the right kind of suffers from that as well, because they're like, oh yeah, the global financial collapse, there'll be riots, the power grid will be cut off, and it's like, okay, well, do you know how to like chop firewood, start a fire with, like, do you know? No, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, yeah. So next week we'll look forward to Horse Boys and Boiling Pepes.
Frog.
Yeah, we did it. I made it without dying.
Woo.
I'm still pretty sure I have COVID, but hopefully I get better today.
Now I'm off to explore the Jack Stephen David Bowie conspiracy.
Yeah, leave a comment on whether you believe in the David Bowie's alive conspiracy theory.